Hey guys, my name is Ryan and welcome to Overwatch Central. Today we're sitting down with Yeatle, who is a top 500 Hammond main but plays all of the tanks, who has recently clocked 40 hours on the PTR playing Sigma. So we're asking the big $1 million question, is he any good? Where should you play him? How should you play him? Those kind of questions. You can check all of Yeatle's details in the description below, but let's get started. So first question, which is a main one. Lots of people have time to play Sigma, work out what they think on their own. Why should people listen to you when it comes to Sigma?
So my name's Yeatle. If you guys don't know, I'm a top 500, I guess you call it now, flex tank player. I reached rank 1 on the leaderboards playing Hammond, and I have experience playing new heroes, I guess you can say.
And you've also got a lot of time on Sigma already. Like, how many hours have you got playing this hero?
Oh, yeah.
In, like, custom games, I'm assuming? Or have you just been queuing in ranked, or...?
Yeah, of course.
On the PTR?
I've got 40 hours at least at minimum, and it's about day 6 or 7 since his release. Just on Sigma. We've been playing him a lot in like viewer pugs on the PTR. Always a load of fun.
So the $1 million question then right now is, how good is he? Like, in a very introductory state, where are we rating Sigma right now, do you think?
So at first, I thought he'd actually be pretty good just because of like his kit is really good on its own, but in actual like execution, he's a little underpowered, I'd say. Probably would be a very, very low pick rate tank.
Sigma recently on the PTR patch got a few sort of changes, quality of life stuff mostly. Does that address any of the clunkiness problems at all, or does more need to be done?
So the two recent changes that they made on PTR are that kinetic grasp can now be cancelled by accretion, the rock, and his barrier can be recalled while using the kinetic grasp or accretion. So those are really cool changes on their own, but they're still like kind of small changes. So I can't say that they're going to make too much of a difference on my overall opinion of where he stands. Like, even after those changes, he's still going to be really weak against dive and really weak against brawl.
I guess the main thing that I wanted to ask to begin with is, how would you rate him as a main tank or an off tank? Or is he kind of like Hammond that you sort of can play him in both?
A lot of people ask that, and I kind of think that from here on out that there's not going to be like this whole main tank off tank thing, that from now on it's just going to be like a bunch of flex tanks. Because if you think about the main tanks in Overwatch, you think Winston, Reinhardt, Orisa, they're all just super simple heroes at their kit, right? Reinhardt swings, Winston tases, whatever. We're 30 heroes in, or more. What is this, 31? And Blizzard's kind of like, there's no more simple ideas anymore. So I think from here on out, all the tanks are going to be like more complicated. And that's going to make them more viable in like different compositions, not just main tank, off tank.
Kind of like supports, yes. Then. That there's no real... There's ones that heal more, but I assume like... really you compare any supports with any other supports and still do well. Do you feel like that's kind of a thing that Blizzard are really aiming for to do at the moment? To get rid of the stigma of having a main tank be a barrier tank and an off tank be more of a DPS utility kind of thing?
Yeah, I think for sure, and I think that's a really good idea. I think I heard Jeff say the other day that he wanted all tanks to play like main tanks, so that it wouldn't be like, oh, we have like 2 off-tank players or whatever. And I think that's a really good idea, because with the new 2-2-2, that might be a problem where you're going to have 2 off-tanks on your team too. Like a Roadhog and a Zarya, and it's not going to work out too well.
Going back onto Sigma then, you said that he's a bit underpowered. What about him is okay? If you go through his abilities, his primary fire, his ultimate, what stuff do you go, yep, this is good, this leaves a lot to be desired, if you were to go through everything about him?
Well, we'll start with the part of his kit that's okay, and it's perfectly fine. I think his ultimate is probably the best part of his kit, because it's very rewarding, it feels like, but it doesn't secure like a kill, like confirmed. It doesn't confirm a kill, and there's plenty of counterplay. When you pick somebody up, your teammate can bubble them, they can heal them, transcendence, defensive ults, there's plenty of counterplay. It's not OP in that sense. But it does dish out a lot of damage, so like if the enemy isn't reactive to it, they're gonna get hurt. And at the same time, it puts yourself in a situation where you're really slow and you're an easy like just a floating duck in the sky or something that can just get shot out really easily. So it feels very balanced, his ultimate.
What about his just primary fire? Is the way that he fires, is that okay?
I think Blizzard was trying to go for something different with his primary fire. They didn't want it to be too much like Zenyatta, and to be honest, I feel like his primary fire is okay. Only difference I would make, personally, is just that right now it kind of has a pull effect. I don't know if many people know that, but when you land a shot, it pulls them. So you can get like an environmental kill if somebody jumps off the map or something by landing it by accident. But it's not that much of a pull, like you can't even tell. So I feel like it would really help his kit if it had a stronger pull, just because like it's very easy to run over Sigma, and I will probably get into that in a minute of what makes him weak.
Yeah.
Kinetic grasp. I feel like that's probably one of the parts of his kit that they should change the most, because as it stands, there's like, if you're going against a certain comp or anything, it just feels like that's probably the most useless ability in the game, just because like Zarya will just melt you through it, Doomfist can just punch you through it, and I get it if there's like counters in the game and whatnot, but it ends up feeling really useless a lot of the times, I think. So personally, I would change that to like block all types of damage, because again, I want to like cut into, I don't know if you're gonna follow up with this question, but I feel like he's really easy to dive. That's his main weakness, and his shift ability is what really puts him in that situation where he's just an easy dive target, because his shift doesn't actually like block anything important, I'd say.
What about his accretion ability then?
Oh yeah, the rock. The rock's actually, I really like the rock. So I was talking about the other day how I liked skill shots in the game, how it just feels very rewarding. Like when you land a sleep dart on a blading Genji or something, it's like the best feeling in the game. That's what Overwatch is all about, those moments where you just of rewarding. And I feel like the rock offers that accretion. But my problem with the accretion is that the cast time's kind of slow, so you'll end up a lot of times trying to use it to peel yourself. Like you see maybe a Doomfist or Genji just swinging in to come get you, and the cast time's just so long that you'll probably die before you can get it off, or like they'll probably be out of there already, and you'll end up wasting your cooldown.
What about his shield, actually? Actually, before we get onto that, what about his shield then? Because that's the one bit of kit that seems to be the most important, but the main bit of kit that seems to be pissing everybody off, so to speak.
Yeah, I honestly, I really like his shield, but at the same time, just like the rest of his kit, it's a little lacking. So I like the whole idea of how a shield, it's a portable shield, you can use it to protect your teammates on command, or you can go aggro with it or whatever. But the main problem with it is it's really clunky. So what happens is you put out your shield, and if you want to summon a new shield, you gotta cancel it, then you gotta tap to like get the cast animation, and then you tap again to actually get the shield out. So it's like it's 3 movements, or alternatively you can just hold down the right click and it deletes shield, cast shield, and actually like spawns it. But I feel like there's just too much of an input delay or something when that happens, so a lot of times you just end up wasting like a second or so just trying to get that shield back up. That's the main problem with his shield right now.
How much of this do you feel is just going to be like a case of time? You know, you played Hammond yourself, and everybody kind of to begin with was like, Hammond feels a bit off. But then you and other players showed what exactly you can do with him. Is that kind of the case for Sigma, that if he wasn't changed or balanced within the next 3 months, people would see him as a better option down the line as people get used to him? Could you see that happening?
Personally, from my experience, between Hammond and Sigma, it's a entirely different feel. Like with Hammond, I was able to tell right away that this character can carry games in the right hands with the right mechanics and all that. But Sigma definitely, it just doesn't feel there yet. It feels like he's a very big liability. I definitely think they do need to change his shield a little bit. I mean, you can do without it being changed, but I feel like it's a big part of his kit. So what I suggested was either split the destroy barrier and spawn barrier into 2 separate bindings. So like one can be interact key to destroy the barrier. Sure, it's more buttons and more stuff that you have to do with Sigma, but like with practice you'll get better at that. Or alternatively, if this is possible, I don't know if it is, if they just made holding right click more responsive. Because right now it feels like when you hold right click, or rather the spawn delete thing, it just doesn't feel as responsive. It feels like it takes a 1 second delay or so before it deletes the shield, casts, and spawns. So if they can make that faster, that would help, definitely.
Can all of Sigma's problems be fixed by balance changes like that to all of his abilities and stuff, or fundamentally would you say he's a bit of a broken hero?
I think fundamentally he's a really good hero. I think, as you said, just numbers. They just change a couple things here and there and make his kit less sluggish and more, I guess, swift. And he should be good.
So, what other situations, maps, compositions is Sigma not very good in?
So I think maps where like dive is really good. He probably doesn't shine too hot just because there's a lot of high ground and he can't clear everything by himself. But at the same time, he doesn't want to be anywhere too close quarters. So thinking like, I can't think of specific maps that are like super close quarters, but there's areas on maps where it just like, you can tell that close range heroes like Reinhardt, Zarya, or Doomfist will really excel. He usually doesn't want to be in like tight rooms with other enemies. He's really good at like clearing flankers out and stuff like that. So out in the open, but not too out of the open and not too close range is probably the most optimal place for him.
So what kind of maps and compositions do you think even Sigma now would be really good in?
So he actually works pretty well in like double shield compositions. So like you have a Reinhardt or you have an Orisa. And what he does best, I think, is taking like an off angle. So you'll have your Orisa, your Reinhardt just making a centralized push through main, and then you'll be clearing like a flank. So let's think, for example, King's Row offense first point. You'll have your other main tank go through statue to main, and then maybe he himself can go through hotel and clear it out. He's really good at clearing flankers and whatnot because his kit's just like designed to generally win 1v1s or whatever, push out enemy DPS.
So that's with tanks. Like, are there any other like solid synergies that you've had with Sigma and other characters, DPS supports, all that jazz?
I think he does pretty good with Moira, surprisingly, because Moira's, since his problem is that he gets dove easily, ideally you don't want to have a support that also gets dove easily. So the less targets that are diveable, the better, because he wants to move around kind of fast and push the enemy away. So having a team that doesn't also get dove helps. So I'd say like Moira, Lucio, or like Lucio and I don't know, Baptiste. Because the whole idea is you want to avoid getting like collapsed on as much as possible. I feel like the whole idea with his kit, like with Accretion and his primary fire doing a little bit of a pull, is that they want to keep the enemies away or push them back, but also you want to take space. So it's kind of weird. He wants to close in the distance, but he doesn't want to brawl.
Are there any other major things that maybe players haven't realized 40 hours in, like you have? Any other sort of major things that just people over time will learn about, I suppose?
I think one big thing is shield management. Like, I had a problem where I would focus too much on playing him like as a main tank, and I just leave my shield out for my team. And if you do that, your shield's just going to break fast. Like, even as Reinhardt, if you're a really good Reinhardt, you're not going to hard shield bot the entire time. You're going to put some swings in, you're going to go around corners. You can't, like, just leave your shield out all the time. So the best way to play him is to just kind of spam it in and out here and there. Don't leave it out for too long. Always remember it. Early on, I know I forgot my shield a lot, and it would always just break, but just make it into a habit to spam it in and out.
How do you rate him on like attack versus defense, or on like specific map types?
So I think he's actually really good on attack, because he does a good job of like clearing out areas and taking space in that matter. Because he just always going forward. I feel like he's just a super aggro. He almost plays like I feel like it's a similar playstyle to Zarya, as weird as that is, just because he's always making pressure from some type of angle. But on defense, I don't think he's too hot, just because like he can't go aggro and take space, right? He's easy to collapse on, and he's easy to push back because he doesn't want to brawl. So, yeah, on defense he kind of has a hard time. He can't really take any space on defense, basically.
So just to recap then, how would you, on a scale of 1 to 10 actually, how would you rate Sigma currently versus the potential of where he could be with the balance changes that you want? So where is he currently first?
So I think currently he's probably like a 5 or a 6. But as small as those changes sound, I think that will put him at like 8 or 9 easily. Even when he's changed very positive, he won't be like used all the time, but he'll be used like very like as much as Dive's used now, or probably more, like on specific maps and specific scenarios. Not super niche, but very like out there. He's a good option, I think.
And no doubt when this hero goes to live and competitive and whatever, where can people see more of you playing him? On the PTR now as well, probably.
You can find me at twitch.tv/Yeatle. Yeatle.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. As I said, check out all of Yeatle's stuff in the description, his Twitch mainly. But thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.